means feeding the water into feeding water into Lake Obosat. I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Wakoli, that statement is dropped. Senator Essie. Senator Boni, kindly approach the chair, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for a statement on career growth paths for teachers on contract. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the career growth paths for teachers hired by the Teacher Service Commission on contract terms. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state the total number of teachers currently employed by the Teacher Service Commission on non-permanent and pensionable terms, and state how many are hired per each year of recruitment. 2, explain whether these contract employed teachers are eligible for employment within the TSC on permanent and pensionable terms, and ascertain claims that they are discriminated against during regular replacements, recruitment or employment of PNP teachers by the TSC. And finally, provide any plans in place by the TSC for career progression to ensure growth and advancement in the careers of these young contract employed teachers, and indicate where in the TSC Human Resource Policy or TSC regulations such a plan is captured. Senator Esther Okenyuri MP, thank you.
Now we'll go back to statements pursuant to Standing Order 52. We ought to have started with those, but they were not listed. Senator Boni, kindly proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise under Standing Order number 52-1 to make a statement on a matter of general topic of concern, namely the progress made in the betterment of this nation and Kakamega County in particular since the general elections that were held in August 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 8th of December 2023, this week, the Senate will proceed to a recess to mark the end of the second session of the current Parliament, a year and 2 months after the hotly contested 2022 general elections. Mr. Speaker, I am truly grateful to the people of Kakamega who voted me in as their senator with more than 300,000 votes. I am grateful, Mr. Speaker, to the Speaker of the Senate and to the Senate membership in general, including the staff who have made our work a standing success. Mr. Speaker, in particular, I want to thank fellow senators who have allowed and supported me in the discharge of my responsibilities as the Majority Whip. Ladies and gentlemen, colleague senators, I thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, to the people of Kakamega, I would like to address them on the following issues. 1, Mumias Sugar Company, the sugarcane growing sector, and the sugar industry. 2, infrastructure in Kakamega, and Kakamega Teaching and Referral Hospital. And finally, Mr. Speaker, on the matter of housing and Kakamega Airstrip. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we all know, the sugar industry has gone through very difficult times. Farmers of sugarcane continue to endure difficulties that are very well known to all of us, ranging from the high cost of farm inputs, expensive labor, low payment per ton of the produce, and difficulties in accessing harvest permits, not to mention corruption within the sugar industry. Mr. Speaker, I have fought against all these challenges with the support from some of our elected members of Parliament. I am glad to inform you that the future looks bright. I want to thank Mutahi Sugar Company and West Kenya Sugar Company, who have been accommodative of some of our demands and requests for betterment of the sugar industry. I also want to thank Mr. Sarbirai, the new investor of Mumias Sugar Company, for the zeal he has demonstrated for revival of Mumias Sugar Company. He has put the nucleus estate under Ken, and on 1st of this month, the new investor in Mumias has started crushing Ken. We are indeed grateful. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for his support in stamping out cartels from the sugar industry and writing off the debts amounting to 117 billion shillings that was owed by sugar companies, therefore allowing the companies to start on a clean slate. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to say we will never forget that Mambo Matatu was born in Kakamega. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm pleased that we go to recess. Mutembei Sugar Company and West Kenya Sugar Company have announced an increased payment rate of 6,020 shillings per ton of cane harvested and delivered by farmers, with a commitment that farmers be paid within 7 days. I'm even more grateful, Mr. Speaker, to the new investor in Mumias Sugar Company, who has announced a higher payment rate of 6,030 shillings per ton. Similarly, I wish to congratulate the investor in Mumias Sugar Company for his unprecedented cane development program, as evidenced by the thousands of acres of nuclear farm that he has put under cane development. Mr. Speaker, I would like to note that the Senate is currently working on legislation from the National Assembly that seeks to improve sugarcane farming and the sugar industry. Even with all the progress registered, there is still much to do, particularly with regard to the importation of sugar that ultimately impacts negatively on the sugar industry. I therefore urge the President and the National Treasury to develop a friendly sugar importation policy that, Mr. Speaker, could include an opportunity for sugar outgrower companies to be sharing in the benefit of importation of sugar when there is a deficit. Mr. Speaker, on the matter of the road infrastructure, I'm pleased that the President has lived up to the manifesto which committed to improve road infrastructure. In Kakamega County, this is evidenced by the ongoing upgrading to bitumen standard of the Ikoli Kimanget, Malaba Samiti Nabaholo Chebuyusi Road and the Tarbo Seregea Soi Road. The government plans to also complete the Lurandi Shikoti Ingote Nambaja Dorfu Muskoma Road C41 that was advertised on Monday of last week. Mr. Speaker, I would like to plead with the people of Kakamega to appreciate that the government cannot fix all our roads in one financial year. I therefore urge them to be contented with the completion of the above roads in the meantime before embarking on the other deserving roads. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Governor of Kakamega County, His Excellency, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the former Governor of Kakamega, His Excellency Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Aparanya, for having initiated the expansion of the former Kakamega Provincial General Hospital into a 750-bed capacity hospital. I also want to thank Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology for establishing a medical school at the university. It is my dream to have a medical school of Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology to partner with the former Provincial General Hospital to ensure that we establish the Kakamega Teaching and Referral Hospital. I thank the President for his commitment towards this, and Masinde Muliro University and Science Technology for this, so that we can realize this project. I would like to urge the current governor of Kakamega, His Excellency Fernandes Barasa, to see the big picture and hand over this project to the national government and see the hospital become a level 5 hospital in our region that would serve 6 million people. Mr. Speaker, on housing, I would like to thank the President for kicking off the construction of 4,000 acres houses under the affordable housing project in the Milimani area of Kakamega County in Kakamega Town. The works are now underway and everybody is happy. I urge the President to stay the course. I'm aware, Mr. Speaker, of the hue and cry of the former residents of Milimani area over the ongoing demolitions of their houses. And I want to assure them that once completed, the ongoing project will mitigate the current pain, which will include them being given a fast charge on the ownership of the new houses. I urge the President to go the whole hog and ensure the successful flushing out of all land grabbers, particularly with regards to Buhungu Stadium, former showground land, the approved school land, Mudiri Estate land, Otiende Estate land, and they are all in the possession of land grabbers. These land grabbers must be repossessed off to pave way for the current ambitious plan of development. On to the final matter, I'm saddened to report to the people of Kakamega that the governor of county government of Kakamega and 12 members of parliament from Kakamega County resolved to halt the expansion of Kakamega airstrip that is situated at Iwichena in Muranda Ward in Shinyalu constituency, on the pretext that the county government could not afford the 400 million meant to compensate the residents to pave way for expansion of the airstrip. I vehemently opposed this resolution and note that it is cheaper to expand than to build an entire new airport. I would also like to report that I sought a meeting with the President, at which meeting he agreed to fund half of the 400 million shillings budget to the project. This agreement was communicated to the governor of Kakamega by Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen. Thereafter, the governor, together with the majority of the members of parliament from Kakamega County, further resolved at a meeting in a hotel in Mombasa that a new airport be built altogether in the Shukusa area, a position that was presented to the President through a memorandum. I refuse to be part to this misadventure, given the tortuous process of acquisition of land from forest to pave way for the airport. And I am afraid that the future of the airport now remains bleak. Mr. Speaker, I would like to assure my people that the fight is not lost, and to reiterate that he who fights and runs away indeed lives to fight another day. I thank you, Dr. Boni Halwale, Senator of Kakamega County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me, while still on my feet, to make a statement on the death of the former MP for Bungoma South constituency and MP of Kandui, the Honorable Lawrence Sifuna. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 52-1 to make a statement on a matter of national and general topical concern, namely the demise of former Bungoma South and former Kandui Member of Parliament, the Honorable Lawrence Sifuna, who passed away on Saturday while undergoing treatment at an Eldoret hospital. Mr. Speaker, we are seated here as a Senate, being a product of decades of constitutional reforms that can be traced to the relentless fight by our second liberation warriors in the 1990s and the 1980s. Mr. Speaker, these men and women risked limb, and property to demand greater freedoms, free speech, and sustainable constitutional order that could protect our democracy. Without them, Mr. Speaker, we would probably still be under one-party dictatorship with an emasculated parliament. When the roll call of honor of these great sons and daughters of the struggle for freedom will be unleashed, I dare say, Honorable Lawrence Simiyu Sifuna will without doubt take his place of pride. Mr. Sifuna is survived in this House, Mr. Speaker, by his nephew, the distinguished Senator of Nairobi, Edwin Sifuna. Mr. Speaker, I note a lot of Kenyans have kept abreast with the political history. Will certainly remember the famous phrase of the seven bearded sisters that was coined by the former Attorney General, Sir Charles Njonjo. Honorable Njonjo was referring to an indomitable cast of parliamentary firebrands and debaters, which included the honorable members and of the following creed: Lawrence Sifuna, James Orengo, Abuya, Onyango Midika, Koiki Omere, Chibuya Watsuma, and Moshengo Machofi. What may not be clear to many today is that this name was based on 7 members who were uncompromising in their stand when national issues came up to the floor of this House, where they were fearless, principled, and defended the people. This group sowed the seed of liberation that would germinate in the restoration of a multi-party democracy in 1992. There is no gainsaying that the contribution of Honorable Lawrence Simiyu Sifuna was an integral part of this. Mr. Speaker, outside Parliament, Honorable Sifuna was a certified public accountant, a farmer, and a perennial defender of sugarcane farmers' rights. Sugarcane farmers are much poorer today without him, as indeed his recent absence from the public scene has coincided with the decline of the sugar sector under the weight of mismanagement and corruption. Mr. Sifuna is dying in shame about Nzoia Sugar Company. This charisma of gift of the gift
of Masinde Muliro. Bungoma is known to be the home of Wamalwa Kijana. Bungoma is known to be the home of Dr. Mukisa Kitui. Bungoma is known to be the home of Captain. And Bungoma is known to be the home of Edwin Sifuna. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to support the statement by Senator Boni Khalwale. Indeed, people like Roland Sifuna, Jido Matiba, Charles Lobia, and the rest did shape the history and the destiny of this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the spirit of the demise of Roland Sifuna, who has been fortunately survived by a very strong politician in the name of Edwin Sifuna, with whom I sit in one committee, his commitment to liberate this country, regardless of the party position he holds, Mr. Speaker, sir, is something that we as senators are very proud of. Mr. Speaker, sir, having said that, it is also indeed very important that we note there are politicians who need to learn from the likes of Roland Sifuna. Those who wait until the president is out of the way, out of the country, and then they list national assets and put them for sale. Mr. Speaker, sir, we want to urge these leaders who sit near the post that they have offices that it's important to know that it cannot, and we cannot accept them to put such an important national heritage like the KICC for sale. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want today to add my voice. I want to join the likes of Roland Sifuna. I want to join the likes of Kojo Amore, that we cannot let a few people take it for granted that they can do or live what they want to do in this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is becoming quite unfortunate that a few individuals, Mr. Speaker, sir, who have worked with so hard and promising the Kenyans that will ensure the cost of living comes down, Mr. Speaker, sir, instead of them working with us in tandem, they are going and auctioning anything that they can lay their hand on. This we must stand as a house and oppose. Mr. Speaker, sir, today I want to stand in the same spirit of Roland Sifuna and say this country belongs to all of us. It cannot take our parents so many years to put things where they are today, and then we get to here, Mr. Speaker, sir, people bought edible oil that is toxic. They spent billions of shillings. This cannot be sold. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is time that we call these people and tell them enough is enough and they must stop. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is such a moment when we are given an opportunity to reflect on the things that are happening in this country that we ask ourselves, are some of these people serious? Mr. Speaker, sir, just the other day, I read a statement from none other than one of our colleagues who's been sitting in this house, a Minister of Infrastructure and Transport, saying that centers, cars that have been bought by hustlers, that they should be banned from the road. Mr. Speaker, sir, I ask, are we losing our senses, Mr. Speaker, sir? When must we realize that we must work for Kenyans? Mr. Speaker, sir, in the same spirit of Roland Sifuna, I want to tell Kenyans that yes, we must stand up and we will not let anybody take advantage of you. We are going to pursue justice until we bring it to the logical conclusion. Because this is the spirit, Mr. Speaker, sir, when we are gone like Roland Sifuna is gone, we want somebody to stand in this out and say, he stood as a senator and stood for the justice of the people. I start to be counted as those who will fight for the justice of the people, irregardless of the people who are pushing and waiting. Only when the president is away of the country, they put national assets for sale. It is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I urge my colleagues to stand up and oppose this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Eddie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, it's a solemn day, and Mr. Speaker, first of all, may I take this opportunity to pass my sincerest sorry to my colleague, my friend, my mentor, and indeed a leader who has really guided us in the side of the opposition side, Senator Sifuna. I know it's a very, very tough moment because I understand where he has drawn some of his strength in terms of how he sees the world. And indeed they say the apple does not fall far away from the tree.
we have seen the character that Sifuna brings in politics, not only in this house, but also in the country, that indeed there is somewhere that he fetches it. But Mr. Speaker, you know, being a young person in this country and reading books, left-wing politics has been one of the hardest politics to be in, because left-wing politics is indeed related to defiance. Left-wing politics is related to being against the system always. But also left-wing politics can be about being able to stand for social justice, being able to stand for economic equality, and being able to fight inequality in whichever form that it comes within our borders. And these are the characters and things that represent Honorable Lawrence Sifuna. Because if you read history of this country, Mr. Speaker, we stand today in a very strong democracy because of the giants that came before us. And I think that spirit can be able to inspire us, that indeed, when it comes to left-wing politics, we can be able to stand and have a country where ethnicity cannot be the functional equation for being able to employ others. Mr. Speaker, our country today, you will find that two tribes are grossly overrepresented in terms of employment. And these are things that Lawrence Sifuna did fight against. Mr. Speaker, today in Parliament, we find that the vibrancy of Parliament is extremely compromised, simply because the tenets of democracy, which includes being able to separate the idea of executive from Parliament, is completely compromised, because today Parliament becomes an appendage of the executive, to the extent that parliamentarians have been sent into these two houses that we see today, the Senate and the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, are hugely compromised, bending laws to the executive, Mr. Speaker. Some of the laws that were passed in this house in the Senate, Mr. Speaker, that are against the spirit of devolution have been passed because we are constantly inclining our politics to the politics of being covered by the executive, Mr. Speaker. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, and I want to celebrate my leader, Raila ODINGA. I know that I will not bring him into this, but I want to celebrate him in the context of the idea that democracy does not always mean that even if you lose elections in a number of times, then you give up. I say this because in the early 1990s, Mr. Speaker, Lawrence Sifuna went back home after being affected by a lot of Mlolongo movements and still won a number of elections that inspired generations. And I hope that we can learn from him, and as a people, being able to start fighting for electoral justice as one thing that this country has never been able to solve. Even as we go on with the elections that we are going to have in future, even after the talks that we have had, the bipartisan talks, that the hardest thing that we have been able to crack, even in the talks that have just ended, is the issue of electoral justice. And I hope that the spirit of Lawrence Sifuna will inspire the topmost leadership of this country, starting from the president to the deputy president to vigogo wa siasa, as the Swahilis will say it, to be able to solve one issue that can unite this country, that after an election, Mr. Speaker, a country can sit back, that anybody who loses will lose genuinely, and anybody who wins will win genuinely, and people sit together and build a nation on the tenets of a functional democracy that has been elusive to this country for years. May the soul of Honorable Lawrence Sifuna rest in eternal peace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Methu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I think I want to join my colleagues. I want to support the statement that has been sought by, or that has been read by the Senator for Kakamega, Senator Boni Halwale. I would want to also join my colleagues in sending my most sincere condolences to the family of Lawrence Sifuna. Honorable Speaker, I have not had an opportunity of meeting the very honorable gentleman the late Lawrence Sifuna. But from what I've heard and from what I've read since I learned of his demise, Honorable Speaker, this is a very successful politician, Honorable Speaker, and all of us, especially those of us who are in this house and in the other house that are young, Honorable Speaker, we have so much to learn from the Honorable Lawrence Sifuna. Honorable Speaker, having been elected for the first time in 1978, was re-elected in 1983, was rigged out in 1988, and was re-elected again in 1992, Honorable Speaker, and that he even ran for office in 2022 to become a senator for Bungoma, Honorable Speaker. It tells you the man and the metal which made this man, great man, Lawrence Sifuna, the former member of parliament. So I send my most sincere condolences to the family, and especially our colleague, the senator for Nairobi, Senator Edwin Sifuna. The many good things that have been said about the late Honorable Lawrence Sifuna, Honorable Speaker, are reflection in the man who is the Deputy Minority Whip, Honorable Edwin Sifuna. Honorable Speaker, just like Senator Matinga has said, when we just joined the parliament, Honorable Edwin Sifuna was not a very tolerant politician, because he actually believed that we must see things in the lens that he sees things, Honorable Speaker. He actually did not believe, and maybe even to this minute he may not even believe that what we in the majority see is not what he sees. But over time, and me being with him in the Public Accounts Committee, he has been able to appreciate that in the same vigor, in the same mind, in the same spirit that you think that maybe your party or your side is the best to shepherd this country, Honorable Speaker, is the same spirit, is the same effort, is the same energy, that I feel that the right person to shepherd Kenya into prosperity is none other than Dr. William Ruto. I'm very happy, Honorable Speaker, that over time Honorable Senator Sifuna has been able to appreciate that that shall be the position that we in the majority side will take. It is the position that they will take in the minority side, and we can always disagree, but we can always speak our minds out. Honorable Speaker, I feel very bad that I didn't know Honorable Sifuna, the man that I know today, on the days that we joined this parliament. Honorable Speaker, he was fronted by his party to run for chairmanship of a committee, Honorable Speaker, a committee that I served with him, Honorable Speaker, and I worked very hard to ensure that he is defeated, Honorable Speaker. I am very sorry that I didn't know him then. Maybe what I know now, if I knew it then, maybe he would have gotten it easier, Honorable Speaker, because he had actually the blessings of his party. We worked very hard to ensure that we split the members of the party so that he does not win. But those are stories that, and I regrets that are not helpful at this moment, Honorable Speaker. So I echo the sentiments that have been made by my colleagues, Honorable Speaker, that it then shall be asked, after we have left this parliament, after we have left this place of politics, Honorable Speaker, what then will be written? If anybody will read a statement like that has been made by Senator Boni Harwale, what will be said of Senator John Medu when he was a member of parliament of this house, Honorable Speaker? What will be written about me when I'm not a member of this Senate, when I'm not, when I've retired from politics, Honorable Speaker, when I've met my maker, Honorable Speaker, because I'll not live forever on this earth, Honorable Speaker? What will be said? What will be left about the men, Senator John Medu? So I send my condolences to the family of Lawrence Sifuna. I send the condolences to my brother, Senator Edwin Sifuna, and all of you. Please, may God comfort you and your family, and may the spirit of this great man rest in peace.
Senator Wambua.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues to pay glowing tribute to the late Honorable Lawrence Sifuna, and thank Senator Boni Harwale for reading that statement on the floor of the House. The Speaker, lately, Senator Harwale is beginning to see the light, and he's saying things as they are. And I see he has also infected Senator Matinga. And the Speaker, if that infection goes round, then this country will be a better country to live in. The Speaker, how I wish we could say the same things about our colleagues when they can still hear it and do something about it. I've heard Senator Matthew, a young man, a very hard-working senator with a bright future, saying that he doesn't know what will happen when he's gone and what people will say about him. I want to correct him because I'm a senior, that I wish we could all work towards doing things today that great things will be said about us while we are still alive. We all go through moments with the Speaker, and today I was following proceedings in the US. And the President of the United States of America is a worried man, because the Senate is about to deny him funding for assistance in Ukraine and Israel. And the Republican Party, the senators from the Republican Party, are ganging up against a motion to continue with that support. And the President must find a way of talking to the senators to unlock that funding. Now, Speaker, I wish we'll get to a point as a Senate of the Republic of Kenya, working, Mr. Speaker, in the footsteps of Lawrence Sifuna, Honorable, that the leadership, the top leadership of this country would have sleepless nights thinking the decisions that we make today, what will the senators say and do about those decisions? The Speaker, because the Senate of the Republic of Kenya is not a lesser Senate than the Senate in the US. We have what it takes, Mr. Speaker, to be able to hold leadership to account for the benefit of the people. I want to say something about Honorable Lawrence Sifuna. He played in a big league. He played in the same league with the late Kijana Wamalo. He played in the same league with the late George Moseti Anyona. The same league with Martin Shikoku. The same league with Koigi Oramore. The same league with Kennedy Kiliku. People who believed that they are leaders not because of personal benefit, but for this country, to take this country forward. And even in the young age, Mr. Speaker, as I said, we all go through moments. And I'm happy that the late Honorable Lawrence Sifuna has left behind a courageous, a strong, a fearless, a trustworthy leader in the name and character of Senator Edwin Sifuna. That even in his young age, Mr. Speaker, Senator Sifuna is focused and he knows what is good for his people and he pursues that which is good for his people. He has not suffered a lot of midlife crisis like my friend Senator of Narok is suffering some midlife crisis. If you look at the hair that he's wearing. But Mr. Speaker, we have a duty of care in this country to stop behaving, Mr. Speaker, as though we are in a rush. We are in a rush, Mr. Speaker, to finish up with Kenya as you know today in preparation to get into another Kenya. This country, Mr. Speaker, belongs to each one of us. This country, Mr. Speaker, belongs to our children. This country belongs to our children's children. And as the former president of America said, Mr. Speaker, I want to quote him, President Obama, that the times that we are living in today are borrowed from our own children. We have a duty, Mr. Speaker, to safeguard the interests of this country, to safeguard the interests and the assets of this country, Mr. Speaker. And as I conclude, I want to thank Senator Wamatinga for seeing the light and speaking openly about it. We cannot auction this country, Mr. Speaker, for immediate benefit. Who sells assets like the Kenyatta International Convention Center? Who does that, Mr. Speaker? Who sells the Kenya Pipeline Company? Who does those things, Mr. Speaker? I want to thank The team in Kenya Kwanza who have seen the light, and they are saying over our dead bodies, these assets will not be sold. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Senator Chute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I was watching YouTube last night, I came to know that Honorable Lawrence Sifuna is dead. And Honorable Speaker, what I didn't know was the gentleman seated over there, Senator for Nairobi, is related to Lawrence Sifuna. And I now know where this ability comes from. It is genetics. Let me also thank Senator Khalwale for bringing this motion. Honorable Speaker, when I saw the video, I went through history to check what he did during his time in Parliament. Honorable Speaker, I was surprised to know that very few members of Parliament then, when things were so bad, you cannot even talk against the then government. We had people like Koigo Amwere, James Orengo, Abuya Abuya, Chibulo Suma, not forgetting people like Onyango Midika, Mashengu Machofi, Philomena Chelagat Mutahi, Maria Soronei, and Martin Shikuku. Honorable Speaker, we in this Senate are 47 elected members of Parliament. What we need to know, history must remember us as what have we done for this country. Honorable Speaker, these 47 senators are representing 50 million Kenyans. And I would want always to ask myself, am I representing people or am I representing an interest of an individual or my party, whether it is ODM or UDA? Honorable Speaker, if you look at what Lawrence Sifuna has done, he was elected when Bumula as the first MP for that constituency. Of course, he lost the seat to Morris Kamamu Makhamu, who was then Northeastern PC. I remember him when I was very young. And he recaptured his seat in 1992 under Ford Asili, if I'm not wrong. And he's an accountant, international accountant, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at history, those people who are gone, I think they decided to fight with this country, but not for their stomachs. If you fight for your stomach, if you fight for yourself, you cannot fight for the country. It cannot go together. You either choose to eat or choose to fight for this country. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Senator Matinga talked about the oil. If you can remember, Honorable Speaker, I brought a statement to this Honorable House 5 months ago. And I had all the documents that shows that this oil, the government has lost billions of money. And so many people thought that this guy from Marsabit, what is he talking about? But today, they know this guy, the senator from Marsabit, is talking about money in billions that are lost under a deal which is supposed to reduce the cost of living in this country.
instead of reducing the cost, Honorable Speaker, instead of reducing the cost, a few people sat in a hotel in Dubai and exaggerated the price to the tune of 30%. Those oils now, cans and drums, are laying in over 11 godowns, and it can be sold. Honorable Speaker, 2 days ago, KEBS had a certificate that shows that this same oil was declared unfit for human consumption and should be returned to the sender in 30 days' time, within the 30 days. If not, the government will take responsibility. The responsibility will go to the importer, but the entire consignment will be destroyed. And that consignment is going to cost the people of this country billions of shillings, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would want to urge these distinguished senators, let us not talk about issue of which party you come from. Let's talk about this country. Let us put our country, Kenya, and the people of this country as our number one priority. Because what is happening now, Honorable Speaker, people are very uncomfortable about the issues that is happening in this country. Honorable Speaker, the way I am seeing, we are heading back to the Nyayo era. Why am I saying so? If you look at when the president is away, you've seen people have decided to sell properties that belong to the people of Kenya. The property that is being sold belongs to the people of Kenya. The government is just holding brief for Kenyans. It is not the government, it's not government property. It is the people of Kenya who owns whatever is in this country. Honorable Speaker, I talked about some months ago, I talked about the property, Pakistan, in Mombasa. As we speak, Honorable Speaker, that land is gone. The people of Kenya have lost billions of money. I also want to thank Honorable Halwale, who also contributed to the issue of Pakistan. And Honorable Speaker, you know, some people forget our Honorable Halwale, who is here, that he has also contributed a lot to this country. But because he's alive, these people, you see, Honorable Speaker, they will start talking after he has died. They say, oh, he's good, he's like this and this. Let me say today, the people I mentioned earlier is also amongst those people. He has contributed heavily to this country, and of late, he has started being very neutral. This is what we should be, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm seeing something, Honorable Speaker, in this country. There is a trend that it is our time to eat. Honorable Speaker, can you please ask Cherargei to
order Senator Boni and Cherargei. Senator Chute, your colleagues are on queue, so kindly conclude, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Now let me conclude by saying, let me give my sincere condolences to the family and friends of Honorable Lawrence Sifuna and my colleague here, Senator for Nairobi City County. Asante sana, thank you very much.
Senator Professor Jenda. Senator Olekina.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I'd like to join my colleagues in eulogizing a true left-wing politician, someone whose contribution to the public service will be remembered because of his unwavering dedication to fighting for the rights of those who are underprivileged. Mr. Speaker, when I was growing up, the late Honorable Lawrence Sifuna played a critical role in shaping the life of many people in this country who went against the status quo. When he was fighting against the government policies, when people could not dare do that. When he was criticizing the former Attorney General, who was very, very powerful, the late Charles Njonjo, in terms of policies that we are witnessing today. Mr. Speaker, I would say that it is the spirit of the late Lawrence Sifuna which is now troubling us. It is the one which is making us restless, such that you can hear my good friend, my chair of energy, criticizing a government which he helped form. Mr. Speaker, it is important and it is imperative that we remain committed to fighting for those people who have given us an opportunity to be seen, to be able to represent them in this august house. Mr. Speaker, my good friend, the Deputy Minority Leader, stood up here and he said many things. And for me, I just want to remind him what the Bible says. The Bible in Timothy 4 verse 12 says that let no one despise your youth, and the youth should be allowed to explore their life, even to keep the kind of hair they want to keep. Mr. Speaker, when we stand here now troubled by the spirit of the departed soul, the late Lawrence Sifuna, when we are talking about all the challenges, what is so hypocritical, and allow me to be as candid as I want to be, is that I'm seeing my colleagues from the other side of the aisle criticizing policies of the government which they advocate on a daily basis, and they will not even dare say, thank you, the Right Honorable Raila ODINGA, for going to court to stopping this menace, this culture of trying to line your pocket to a point where you think when finally you depart, you will go with all the assets that you amass in this world. Mr. Speaker, what is ailing this society now, this country? I'm telling you, I don't even know why we should stand here and all of us just blame Ruto. No, it is the legislators who passed those laws. All the challenges we're going through, it is us. Can we please bring a mirror and look at the mirror? And you look at the mirror and you say, if KICC sold, it is me to blame. Because what is Ruto? He's the president, yes, but you are the one who will give him the power to sell it. So I think we should stop lying to Kenyans and to be honest, and now with the spirit which is troubling us of the departed soul, a true left wing who fought for the rights of the people who suffer. Let it continue troubling us to a point where we will say no. Because they're the ones who shaped the future of this country, really. They are the ones who started fighting about liberation. Mr. Speaker, it saddens me a lot to see most of us stand here, whether you're Jewish, whether you are Hindu, Christian, or whatever religion that you profess, to stand here and start blaming someone, not knowing that it is you, it behooves you as a person to be able to leave this world a better place. Today we are being very spiritual, and today I'm being extremely spiritual. But in Psalms 116:14, the Bible says that I will pay all my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. So I think it's about time now we start asking ourselves, what is enough? Is our salary enough? You know, we've talked about the issue of the oil. And what people don't know is that our financial institutions, especially the ones which are partly owned by the government, are being brought down to a halt. When a government pushes a financial institution to open a letter of credit for 20 billion shillings, and then what happens? They import the oil comes here, it is frozen, and then the manufacturing companies which were manufacturing it before, who were told what you are manufacturing is substandard, are now forced to buy. You know, the problem is this: we don't like being honest. They are being forced to buy so that they can reprocess. No wonder people say, what is happening in this country is that we are slowly killing ourselves. We are now, in fact, when I was coming in, I saw a small clip of someone saying that, listen, we voted for a government that will slowly kill you by, you know, you spend most of your time taking care of yourself. You go to clubs, you avoid getting HIV, but then you go home, you buy oil that will give you cancer. But don't worry, you can borrow from the Hustler Fund 500 to be able to do what? To go to the hospital. But no, when you go to the hospital, there are no medicine. So you die, you forgot that you don't have 1,500 shillings to be able to buy what? To pay for your death certificate. You leave that problem to all your neighbors. You know, people speak sense. Mr. Speaker, this spirit which is making us restless today, of left wings, I want to beseech my brothers, my dear brothers from the other side of the aisle, and even some on this side, who believe in just selling and just supporting every policy that comes in without thinking about the consequences and the other unintended consequences. May the spirit of the departed, Lawrence Sifuna, as he rests in eternal peace, as he leaves us in this country where we've decided to rape it, we've decided to destroy it, may it trouble us to a point where we will wake up from slumberland and remember that we must be our brother's keepers. I want to hear my chairperson not only coming here to be able to eulogize the late Lawrence Sifuna and take the opportunity to castigate policies of a government which he really advocates for. I want to hear him proceeding further and questioning every single decision, so that when the Lord decides to call us and we all go, someone will sit there and say, yes, he did this and this. Otherwise, we will not be remembered. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the great people of Elgeyo-Marakwet County, I want to take this opportunity to convey their and my sincere condolences to the family of late Lawrence Sifuna, whom I knew while I was in school reading about him. And recently I came to know that he is a relative to my colleague who is also a member of the Energy Committee, Edwin Sifuna. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Honorable Speaker, during the time of Lawrence, when they were in Parliament, including Mutahi and the others, they did great work for this country. And I don't know what has happened to us of late. Both sides of the aisle, Honorable Speaker, the minority and the majority, we actually get directions from elsewhere. Let's not cheat ourselves. The reason why the other side are speaking this way, it is because it's very easy to speak when you're in the opposition to bash the government. If they were on this side, there would be no difference. We would have done the same on the other side. Honorable Speaker, I believe the reason why the 7 bearded sisters, as Kalwala said, Jalagat Mutahi was among them. She was among the 7 and she was a lady. I think what we need to do, those days, the country was a one-party rule. I believe we need to go back there, or we go to battleless, so that we don't have to subscribe to party policies. You come to this house with your symbol and talk as Senator Elgeyo-Marakwet County. You don't get instructions from anybody, because every day
including Bishop Wambua, gets instructions from elsewhere. Let me tell you, this is the truth, Honorable Speaker. I want to say the truth because point of order.
Speaker, is it in order for Senator Kisang to impute improper motives on the person and character of the Senator of Kitui County, on a member of the clergy, by misleading this house and this nation, that I receive orders from and instructions from somewhere every day? That's what he said. Can you substantiate, the Speaker, where I receive these orders and from who?
Senator Kisang.
Yes, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know he gets instructions from the people of Kitui. Unless, because the reason why he's in this house is the representatives of the people of Kitui, they would all have been here, but the house is not enough. Honorable Speaker, I think we need to reflect as a house. We need to check ourselves so that we also have independence of the house. We have the judiciary, we have the legislative, and we have the executive. I think it is time now that we need to ensure that we work as by the mandate that the Constitution gives us. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to say much. Mine is just to say we need to go back to those days of Lawrence Sifuna. We need to go to those days of Shukuku. All these people we're talking about, they died poor. But the problem that we have now as legislators, everybody's looking for money. You want to be on the list of millionaires. You want to be on which list? I don't know why. I mean, our salary should be enough. We are overpaid actually. And if systems work properly, well, we don't have to go for Harambes every day. We should be, even that salary that we have should be cut by half. And we live on it. But because systems are not working well, basically we will have to pay school fees, we have to pay for funerals, we have to pay for all manner of issues. Maybe that is why it is becoming very difficult for us to be independent, because we expected, you know, you want to go to this office, get a contract here, you want to look correct. And even the minority have joined the rest to look correct. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika pia kwa kunipa fursa hii kuomboleza mwenda zake Lawrence Sifuna ambaye alihudumu kama mbunge katika bunge la kitaifa. Mheshimiwa Spika, kifo cha mwenda zake Sifuna kimeipokonya nchi hii baadhi ya viongozi wa ukombozi wa pili ambao walijitolea kihali na mali kuhakikisha kwamba tunapata ukombozi wa pili ambao ulikuwa ni ukombozi ambao sote sasa tunaweza kujivunia. Mheshimiwa Spika, kujitolea kwake na wale wengine ambao walipigania ukombozi wa pili akiwemo baba Raila Amolo Odinga na wengineo ni ushahidi kutosha kwamba wale ambao wamepigania hii nchi wameweza kuipeleka nchi mbele, na kwa sasa tunajivunia kwa demokrasia ambayo tuko nayo nchi yetu ya Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la kusikitisha ni kwamba yale yote ambayo yameweza kupatikana katika ukombozi wa pili, tunaona kwamba katika hali tulionao sasa yote yanaanza kudidimia. Tumeona hivi majuzi Mheshimiwa Spika, baadhi ya rasilimali za nchi kama vile jumba la mikutano la KICC, shirika la Kenya Pipeline na mengineo, Mheshimiwa Spika, yamewekwa kwenye mnada kuuzwa ili atisemekana kutasaidia kupunguza madeni ambayo nchi hii iko nayo. Mheshimiwa Spika, pale mashirika haya yalipoundwa ilikuwa kuna umuhimu na kuna dharura ya kuwa na mashirika kama haya. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa mfano Kenya Pipeline Corporation ambayo imeanza pale Jomvu Scope, Mheshimiwa Spika, karibu na nyumbani kwetu, ni shirika ambalo limechangia pakubwa kupunguza gharama ya mafuta katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa sababu mafuta yanapelekwa na pipeline kutoka Mombasa mpaka Nairobi, Nairobi mpaka Western Eldoret, alafu yanavukishwa nchi ambayo ni rahisi zaidi kuliko kutumia magari kuyatoa Mombasa mpaka Eldoret, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hivyo shirika kama hili ambalo lina kazi muhimu ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba bei zetu za mafuta hazikurupuki tukashindwa kulipa, likipelekwa katika mikono ya watu binafsi, Mheshimiwa Spika, itakuwa ni hasara kwa nchi, kwa sababu ni ile ambao huduma ambayo inatoa shirika hili ni huduma ambayo ikipeanwa katika mikono ya kibinafsi, Mheshimiwa Spika, itakuwa sisi wananchi hatuna uwezo wa kuweza kujua kitu gani kinachoendelea na vile vile bei ambazo zinawekwa pale. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lingine la kusikitisha pia ni kwamba majuzi shirika la Kenya Petroleum Refineries ambalo pia liko Magongo, Mombasa, lilipelekwa likawekwa pamoja na shirika la Kenya Pipeline Company Limited. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama pipeline ilikuwa yauzwa, kwa nini wakafanya haraka ya kuliunganisha na shirika la Kenya Petroleum Refineries? Wakati refineries, Mheshimiwa Spika, kutoka isimamishwe mwaka 2013 mpaka sasa bado, Mheshimiwa Spika, inaendelea kufanya kazi ya kustore mafuta na wanapata faida ambayo faida ile inakwenda kwa serikali. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, tunapoomboleza hayati Sifuna, sisi ambao tuko uongozini sasa, sisi ambao tunawakilisha wananchi wetu hivi sasa, ni lazima Mheshimiwa Spika tuwe mstari wa mbele kulinda maslahi ya nchi, maslahi ya wananchi ambao wametuchagua, Mheshimiwa Spika. Hatuwezi kufanya hivyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, ikiwa sisi tutaangalia maslahi ya kibinafsi. Na nimefurahi hapa, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwamba Mheshimiwa Chute, Mheshimiwa Matinga wameweza kuona ukweli sasa, na anaendelea polepole kuweza kuokoka, na Mwenyezi Mungu atawasaidia waweze kuokoka na hili lindi ambalo limetanda usoni mwao. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Spika.
I think, honorable senators, we will terminate at that point and will allow Senator Edwin Sifuna to speak last on this matter.
Mr. Speaker, let me say thank you very much to Senator Boni Khalwale for bringing this statement, and to all my colleagues senators who have spoken in very glowing terms about the late Lawrence Sifuna. On behalf of our entire family, I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for also allowing colleagues to mourn this great gentleman. Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Khalwale will bear me witness, there is no Luya word for your paternal uncles. There is a Luya word for your mother's brother, but there is no Luya word for your father's brother. We just call them our father. And that is why many people in the country assume naturally that Lawrence Sifuna was my dad. In the family that my father comes from, there are 5 boys, and my father follows the late Lawrence Sifuna. Mr. Speaker, his public exploits are things that people can speak about the whole day. For us, really, we remember him for the things that he taught us at a private and personal level. Mr. Speaker, there is something he used to keep telling us all the time. The first one was that a good name is better than riches. That in fact, Mr. Speaker, we have a responsibility to put the reputation of the name or the name that you bear before anything else. And in fact, as somebody has spoken to here, many of the members of parliament who were elected in the 70s, in the 80s, those people are not rich people. And he used to say this every time, because sometimes we see some jokes and memes on social media where you see children asking their parents, when people were grabbing land on Mombasa Road, when it was still a field, where were you? You know, but not everybody is wired like that. And that name, Sifuna, was brought to the national and international prominence by none other than Lawrence. And it has opened doors for many of us. I think anybody who bears that name, including myself, have seen the benefit of having such a powerful and clean name. It has opened doors for me. I doubt that my path to leadership would have been as easy as it has been if I bear another name other than Sifuna, because everywhere I went in this republic, the moment you mentioned your name, they would ask you if you are related to Lawrence, because that is the guy that he was. He also used to tell us that it's only an open arm that receives things. That in fact, if you receive things and you clench your fist all the time, you don't want to share it with people, you are preventing other things from coming into that same hand.
So that you need to be generous with the little that you have. And he was generous to a fault. He would deny himself things. All of us in our family, from his brothers to us, his children and his nephews and his nieces, he took us to school. He had a part in our education. All of us. Nobody who carries that name can say they didn't pass through the hands of Lawrence Sifuna. He liked good things, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say here, he's the one who introduced me to whiskey. Mr. Speaker, for some reason, he believed that a certain brand of whiskey called Bond 7 was the best whiskey in the world. I don't know why. And he used to drink it with hot water and lime. And for many years, that is how I drank my whiskey, because he could actually make you believe that this is the best whiskey in the world, from just describing it. And attending some of his speeches on the podium, it's just that those days we didn't have the sort of filming equipment and TV cameras everywhere like we do now. Uncle Lawrence would move a crowd. And you as politicians know, like when you are speaking, you can tell when you have the people. You can tell when you have captured the imagination. We would leave those rallies, Mr. Speaker, convinced that he was going to win the election. In 1988, I was only 6 years old, Khalwale. I was living in Kitinda village, where my grandmother's house was. And the reason I remember knowing that Lawrence had lost the election in 88 is people just came back wailing. You know, it's as if something or somebody had died. So I remember my grandmother just crying and saying, oh, we have lost the election, this has happened. And the reason Uncle Lawrence was rigged out in 88 is because although he was elected in 79 on a Kanu ticket, he used to speak truth to power. When things were not as right as they should be, he used to stand up the way Senator Omatinga has done today and say that this is something that he would not support. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank all of you for the kind words that you have sent. In fact, one of the other things is that he used to tell us cleanliness is next to godliness. And he insisted on cleanliness of body and mind. Mr. Speaker, there is no way, like the way I'm looking right now, I could not go and see Uncle Lawrence. You have to pass by a barber. And of course, Senator Olekina would be kicked out at the gates. Because that hairstyle on his head, he used to wake up every morning to brush that hair so that it looks as neat as it looks, Mr. Speaker. He really believed that we needed to be presentable all the time. In fact, when I went to Eldoret to collect his body, it was the first time in my life when I saw my uncle unshaven. He used to wake up every morning and he would be clean shaven every time. And he used to insist on that. So I want to take this opportunity to thank members of the House for all your condolences. If you are able to join us on the 16th in Bungoma, we'll be laying him to rest. But up to now, I want to appreciate every single person in the country and even those outside the country who have sent us messages of condolences. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Before we move to the remaining statements, allow me to make the following communication. I'd like to acknowledge the presence in the Speaker's Gallery this afternoon, a visiting delegation from the County Assembly of Turkana. The delegation comprises 8 members and 5 officers of the Committee on Delegated Legislation who are on a benchmarking visit with a counterpart in the Senate. Now, Honorable Senators, I request each member of the delegation to stand when called out so that they may be acknowledged in the Senate tradition. The Honorable Philip Ekiwam, the Deputy Speaker. Honorable Mary Arupe Nakapwan. The Honorable Julius Edung Apron. Honorable Aliwo Samuel. Honorable Anaklet Lemuya. Honorable Michael Apem. Honorable Francis Ngimusia. Honorable Martha Nami. Mr. Kevin Brown, Ms. Rhoda Tia Atabo, Ms. Kennedy Lorot, Mr. Makede Mark Lomandang, and lastly, Mr. Justus Ajore. On behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome and wish you a fruitful visit. Also, I wish to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon a visiting delegation from the Kenya National Union of Teachers NAT, Nandi County branch. The delegation comprises 18 members who are in the Senate for a one-day visit. Honorable Senators, on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome to them and wish them a fruitful visit. I will allow the Senator for Turkana under 1 minute to extend some words of welcome, to welcome the delegation from Turkana. And I thought I had seen the senator for Nandi. Under 1 minute also to extend words of welcome to welcome the NAT delegation in that order. Kindly proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join you in inviting MCS, honorable MCS from Turkana County. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I know we were in Turkana County for Senate Mashinani, and I know, Mr. Speaker, they have appreciated what we did for visiting hosting Senate Mashinani in Turkana County. Turkana County, Mr. Speaker, is a cradle on mankind. All we are seated here, we originated from Turkana. So as we prepare for December festive, remember to go to Turkana to identify yourself there as the cradle of mankind. Mr. Speaker, the honorable MCAs are committed in their legislative agenda. Remember, Mr. Speaker, sir, I also want to inform you that whatever we do, God remembers, records what we say. Mr. Speaker, Turkana is a safe of oil. The cost of living that is high now, I know in 10 years coming, the cost of living will be low. I know, Mr. Speaker, the renewable oil, the renewable energy that we have been praying for. The renewable energy, Mr. Speaker, is rich in Turkana. Solar energy, wind energy, Mr. Speaker, and also the wind. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we suffer this time, I know 10 years coming, God will return to Turkana County, and Turkana County will improve the economy of Kenya. We will stop being supplied with yellow maize.